County, North Dakota. The Highway Patrol says 65-year-old Charles Hoovenin was crouched down on his knees in the traffic lane of Highway 281 when an oncoming SUV hit him. No one in the car was hurt. Troopers are working to find out why that man was kneeling on the side of the road. We have new information this morning on the sudden death of North Dakota's top law enforcement agent. Funeral services are now set for State Attorney General Wayne Stengel, and they are open to the public. Visitation is from 4 to 8 on Wednesday in Memorial Hall of the state capitol in Bismarck. The memorial service is at 11 Thursday morning at the Bismarck Event Center Exhibit Hall. Stengel died Friday. He was 68 years old. And we are taking a live look this Monday morning at Fargo City Hall, where flags are at half-staff to honor Stengel's life of public service. Officials say in his 2-decade career as state attorney general, Stengel embodied the principles of integrity and commitment, and his dedication to the safety of North Dakotans was admirable and unwavering. 6:49 now on this Monday morning. We want to get a check of your forecast. Big changes coming for later today, Lisa.
Yeah, first alert weather day for today and into Tuesday, but specifically for today, it comes this afternoon and into tonight. So first part of the day is at least quiet, but we've got to be ready for what's to come here. Here's a look at what to expect. We've got a few alerts out there right now. A winter storm watch. It includes Grand Forks and Fargo in this purple color, much of the Northern Valley, where we're expecting for some areas of some snow, maybe a few inches of snow possible there. Fargo, we're looking at getting into that wind event once this starts up, and also a little bit of light snow, but the heavier snow will be north. And then a high wind warning in the James River Valley and points west as well. So looking at that area being an issue for wind too. And we could see gusts up to 60 miles per hour starting up overnight tonight and into tomorrow. So we know that that could lead to some tough conditions out on the roads. Wind advisory down in the Sisseton area. So here's a look at the latest. Again, it is quiet this morning, so a good morning here to start, but we are watching what's happening out west. There's the snow, a little bit of rain even, and then in the pink areas some freezing rain going on, and that is a potential for us here in the valley as this system's moving in this evening. Early on, we could see a little bit of that drizzle in some of our western counties, and that would add that extra layer of hazard here to those roads coming up for us. Until then, it's looking pretty good. We've got a temperature of 9 degrees in Fargo, 3 in Grand Forks. Thief River Falls is at 8. We're at 4 in Bemidji, and Fergus Falls a milder 10 degrees. It's 8 in Devil's Lake. So temperatures starting above 0 in January, even at the end of January. That's always a good thing. And here's a look at our planner for today. Expect temperatures to be on the rise. We're going to get up to about 30 degrees in Fargo. That'll be nice. But don't let that lull you into thinking things are fine out there. We are going to see conditions change in a hurry heading into tonight and again into tomorrow morning when we'll see some of our toughest conditions. Wind will be out of the south through the day. Expect to have a little bit of a blustery wind. We'll see some gusts into the 20s to maybe 30 this afternoon. But the intense wind is when the system's departing. We're looking at that northwesterly breeze kicking up overnight. I should say blustery conditions overnight, more than a breeze. So a couple of first alert weather days here. You could see temperatures make a big dive here on Tuesday with that windy weather, and blizzard conditions are possible, I would say, especially in open country, because this isn't a big snowfall producer. There will be some scattered areas of light snow Tuesday morning still going, and wherever that's happening, of course, our visibility will be down quite a bit. But even after the snow moves on, we're still going to have some ground blizzard conditions out in open country. And here's a look at the cold to follow. We drop below 0 on Groundhog Day. Heading into Thursday, another first alert weather day. Some really frigid temperatures for Thursday morning. So a tough week ahead of us weather-wise, but let's look at the weekend here briefly. We're looking at some 20s and 30s coming up for the weekend. So some improvement coming, but man, January's ending on a tough note. February's starting on a very tough note.
And thankfully, February is a short month. I can't take much more of this, Lisa. All right, thank you. It is now 6:52. The North Dakota Crime Bureau is taking over the case involving assault claims against the mayor of Jamestown. A tip into our whistleblower hotline claims that someone had been allegedly sexually assaulted by Mayor Dwayne Heinrich in Jamestown Saturday night. Police say a report was filed, but Heinrich was not arrested. The North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation will determine if a crime actually happened. Heinrich says there is absolutely no truth to the allegations. He says he believes the claims are retaliation for recent action taken by the city council. Heinrich says he will not allow what he calls a shameless false allegation to keep him from doing his job or running for re-election. He's also looking now to take legal action. Police in Washington state are warning about another social media challenge that's causing some major problems. It has kids kicking in doors at random people's homes. Officers are worried about how people might react. They're saying some of the pranks might be met with lethal force. Staffing shortages are now impacting schools even more, so much so that West Fargo is suspending some school bus routes because they don't have enough drivers. That starts today and it will continue for at least 2 weeks. Valley Bus says routes 50, 60, and 62 are suspended. The number of standby drivers has diminished this last year, but they are actively recruiting more drivers. The Valley Bus is even training people to help them get a CDL license. In an attempt to mask up the country, the White House is giving out millions of free N95 masks. The Valley Today's JC Dodd joins us live this morning to tell us when and where you might be able to get some of those. Good morning, JC.
Good morning, Jordan. Now, when is still up in the air, and where you might have to shop around before you get your hands on those N95 masks. It's the 400 million government-issued N95 masks are only available at certain pharmacies. The White House is using the federal retail pharmacy program in North Dakota and Minnesota. That includes national chains, CVS, and Walgreens. As of this morning, neither the CVS off of 13th Avenue in Fargo nor the Walgreens off of 8th Street in Moorhead have them in stock. When they do hit the shelves, Americans are limited to 3 masks per person. This move comes after health experts encourage people to use higher quality masks. The 95 in N95 represents the mask's ability to filter out 95% of airborne particles if worn properly. Last week, Governor Walz announced his own effort to mask up Minnesotans, planning to distribute more than 2 million KN95 masks to local public health agencies, schools, and communities.
And so we remember back when we were wearing those cloth masks all the time, we were supposed to wash it after every use. What is the deal with these N95 or KN95 masks?
Now, Jordan, it all depends on how often you wear them. If you're just using it to run into the grocery store, you can use it a little bit longer. But if you're using them every day, 8 hours at work, you'll want to change them out more frequently. Now, I also want to touch on the elastic can get worn out because it goes all the way around your head. So if it's not fitting properly, it's time to throw it out.
And it's not working properly either then. All right, JC Dodd reporting in the studio this morning. Thank you. It is now 6:55. The 2022 Minnesota legislature starts today. Lawmakers and Governor Tim Walz will spend much of the session on how to spend the state's enormous $7.7 billion surplus and the more than $1 billion in federal aid. Democrats want to use the funds on several programs, while Republicans want to give that money back to Minnesotans in the form of permanent tax cuts. Both Republican and Democratic lawmakers agree that crime is a major issue this session, and it will likely carry over as a campaign issue in November. There was supposed to be a special legislative session last fall to provide hero pay for frontline workers, but that never happened because the DFL and Republicans could not agree on a plan. Bonuses for frontline workers are now expected in this regular session. Testimony continues today for the second week in the federal civil rights trial against 3 former Minneapolis officers involved in George Floyd's death. Prosecutors are trying to prove that Thomas Lane, J. Alexander King, and Totau deprived Floyd of his rights when they failed to give him medical aid as Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on Floyd's neck. The former head of training at the Minneapolis Police Department is expected on the stand today. 2 North Dakota residents are in jail accused of using someone's identity to buy more than $30,000 worth of goods. Dorothy and Lorraine Rush, both of Jamestown, are facing felony charges of unauthorized use of personal identifying information. The victim told police that someone they knew may have been using their information to buy things in Jamestown and Bismarck. Police got a search warrant for a home in Jamestown over the weekend and say they found numerous items believed to be bought fraudulently. Plus, they also found the victim's personal information. The suspects were arrested on Saturday, but they have not yet been formally charged. Authorities say additional charges may soon be coming. There is a snow emergency for today from 8 until 4 in Grand Forks, so street crews can remove and push back those snowbanks. It's happening in the 1700 to 2400 blocks of 34th Street South and the 300 to 1300 blocks of Belmont Road. If you leave your car on the street, it will be towed and ticketed. Meanwhile, in Fargo, heads up if you're driving downtown this week. Starting today, the eastbound lane between Main Avenue from 4th to 7th Streets will be closed for work on a nearby building. That closure is expected to last about a week. Northbound Broadway will also be closed from Main to 1st Avenue South for 2 days. It's tax season, and some people in need of tax preparation help can now have it available for them. People who are 50 and older and low to moderate income families qualify. Starting tomorrow, AARP will be providing in-person and virtual tax preparation free of charge in Fargo, Moorhead, Grand Forks, and Wahpeton. Volunteers are trained and IRS certified every year, so they're up to speed on the latest changes in the tax code. There's no walk-ins available, though. You do have to make an appointment. Find details on this story at valleynewslive.com. Just click on the story. Mushers and teams in the longest sled dog race in the United States, at least the lower 48, have now hit the trail. We're talking about the 300-mile John Beargrease Sled Dog Marathon. Take a look at those pups heading through the snow there. It kicked off yesterday in Duluth. The teams are headed to Grand Portage in far northeastern Minnesota, with the winner expected to cross the finish line late tomorrow afternoon. This year's race marked the return of spectators along the trail. They weren't allowed last year because of the pandemic. Beargrease is a qualifier for the Iditarod. That's the premier race for mushers in Alaska in March. And speaking of some cold temperatures, take a look here. There's freezing iguanas now in Florida. One Florida resident woke up to find their yard full of the frozen iguanas. One even fell from the tree. It usually happens when cold temperatures sweep through the region. People say if the reptiles are too cold, they can't move until they're put back in the sun. They then get their color back pretty quickly and scamper off back to more natural habitats. That's how I feel walking around with the cold temperatures we have in the valley. Remember, the Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. We have more live up-to-the-minute news and weather for you coming up on the Fargo CW. Have a happy and safe Monday, everyone.